Expectations, potential, ignorance. I decided that these three words were what are to be focused on in today's feature. MARQUIS Teague, born February 28, 1993, who is currently playing in Pro-Am leagues and last seen professionally in Korea. Why wasn't MARQUIS Teague the player the Chicago Bulls drafted him to be? Why has he only lasted 91 games, which is, for some, a total of only one season? Why was he taken in front of guys like Jay Crowder and All-Star Draymond Green? Well, mainly because of these three words. Let's get into it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Stunt number one, expectations. What a word. More powerful than most people think. In some minds, expectations can even be as strong as the truth. As a child, when your birthday or Christmas comes around, you expect to receive something, so much so that you believe there's no way you won't. It's 100% true to you. As an adult, you expect to go on to live a great life, full of all the things you wish and, more importantly, expect to happen. So much so that we place ages on everything. By 25, I want to be married. By 30, I want to be rich and acquire freedom financially. By 40, I plan to retire and travel the world. Well, let's do this. I want you to go out and ask at least 10 40-year-olds how much of their expectations came to fruition. Take a poll, write it on a piece of paper, glue it to your hands, look in the mirror, and slap yourself in the face so you can wake the fuck up.
It's either that or I use the business end of this gun. Now slap yourself. You call that a slap? That's a love tap.
The word expectations gets way too much credit. Nothing happens unless you make it happen through desire, persistence, and diligence. You can't expect anything. MARQUIS Teague is a great basketball example of how expectations helped him and hurt him at the same time. He was caught in the perfect storm of it too. His older brother exceeded in college and went on to be a first-round draft pick and NBA All-Star. Having a brother with those accomplishments in itself would make NBA teams salivate for a player with that same breed. Teague was also a part of the Kentucky Wildcats' 8 national championship team with future number 1 pick Anthony Davis and 4 other draft picks in 2012 alone. Everyone wanted a piece of that championship team and made picks that were highly questionable to get it. Kid Gilchrist, bruh, Darius Miller. Teague was 2 green checks deep in the expectations boxes and on his way to receive an opportunity many say he didn't deserve in the first place. In his lone season at Kentucky, Teague averaged 10 points a game, 4 assists, shot 71% from the free throw line and 32 from 3, and almost 3 turnovers a game. But because of everything I mentioned above, MARQUIS was expected to come in with his NCAA championship pedigree, be the point guard of the future for the Bulls, and follow in the footsteps of his budding all-star big brother. Stunt number 2, potential. Ever since high school, MARQUIS, in my opinion, has been rated strictly off the potential people saw him with and the player they saw him developing into. In high school, Teague showed that he could actually achieve that. A shifty point guard with an electric game, swagger, athletic, and all the moves used by the current league point guards. So there was no reason to think he couldn't achieve the same heights. So much so that he was rated as high as the number 1 point guard in his class, number 2 on some sites, and number 5 overall, in front of guys like Trey Burke, Spencer Dinwiddie, Quinn Cook, and Otto Porter. I get that class was weak, but all those guys mentioned are still in the league, champions, and some secured max contracts. Teague went on to Kentucky with that potential and played point guard in a John Cal system at the perfect time. At that point, Cal was scorching hot and pumping out NBA players, especially point guards, like none before him. To play for Cal and have the ball in your hands was the luckiest thing you could want as a point guard prospect. Matter of fact, for any prospect. I mean, Devin Booker didn't even start for Cal and was a lottery pick. That's actually one instance where whoever saw his potential at that point deserves a raise. But whoever was drafting for the Bulls in 2012 wasn't very savvy and probably saw Teague mainly for his potential, which brings me to stunt number 3, ignorance. Ignorance, especially when used a certain way with a certain pronunciation, gets a really bad rap. Ignorance simply means that you lack knowledge. You aren't well versed in the subject at hand for one reason or the other. In Teague's case, the Bulls were extremely ignorant as to what they saw in him. I always say that the best people to ask for advice or to gain some sort of clarity are the people with that specific experience you're inquiring about, or that has, as society says, failed at that experience. Those people are the best ones to give advice. How many of us in hindsight think we could have definitely made the NBA had one thing or the other not happened? How many of us know exactly the point in our lives that caused us to falter? That exact information you possess is the reason you can be a great advisor to a person close to you with the same opportunities you had. It's the reason parents, coaches, teachers all told us and tried to warn us not to lose focus or get your education or be patient, and we didn't listen. They were trying to give us those jewels. Most didn't listen and chalked it up to, I don't want to hear that old shit, or yeah, it won't happen to me, or you don't know shit. If you did, why didn't you make it? The ones we shun should be the very ones in those draft rooms selecting these players. We see right through the YouTube highlights and promotional pics on Instagram, right down to the very weaknesses that will have that player out of the league in 2 years. Perfect example, Antoine Walker, who does financial advising. Many people shuck at hearing this, and so did I. Antoine Walker, who lost a fortune advising others, until I sat and thought, who better? The Bulls didn't have this type of guy in their corner and led them to selecting Teague, who came in and was horrible in the NBA system. He couldn't score from anywhere, wasn't quick enough, and didn't have the IQ it takes for that level. He shot horribly from the free throw line for his career, just as he did at Kentucky. Horrible from the three-point line, just as he did at Kentucky, and couldn't make plays, averaging just 1 assist for his career. Along with all those NBA players on his Kentucky team, he still only averaged 4 assists per game there. I knew he wouldn't have been a good point guard in the league simply for those reasons. The Bulls were ignorant to these jarring facts and used a regretful first-round pick on him. In closing, I must say, I don't not like MARQUIS TEAGUE, nor am I hating on the guy. The situation he found himself in, he should have never been in to begin with. But hey, at least he made it, right? He would go on to play short stints for the Brooklyn Nets, Memphis Grizzlies, and in Korea before dominating pro-ams. Salute to Teague, man, and I wish him all the best. But for these reasons, MARQUIS TEAGUE is not in the NBA. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.